Today, Outreach Africa, it's a queer rights organization, is set to hold its annual Pride Parade in Cape Town. That event is hoping to create a platform for all facets of the LGBTIQA+ community, and in particular, raising awareness on hate crimes against its members. The Democratic Alliance is set to march in solidarity with Outreach Africa. In fact, its leader, John Steenhuisen, will deliver a speech at the march. John joins us now via our video link. And John, always great to chat to you. Thanks very much indeed for making time for Newzroom Afrika. What message do you reckon ought to dominate an event like this from the DA?
Well, I think given the current circumstance in the world, I think it's a message of tolerance and respect for different viewpoints and different lifestyles. We still live in a continent in which a large majority of the countries on the continent do not allow same-sex relationships. And we live in a country where just in July last year, 6 young people lost their lives. Their only crime was that they were gay. And I think that we've got to speak out against oppression in all its forms, and we've got to provide a platform for tolerance and acceptance of people who choose to pursue different lifestyles or choose to love people that they wish to love. And I think that's it's a very important message, and one which I think reminds us that we're not there yet. And those 6 murders last year, and those are the 6 we know about, there could be many more, are a reminder that there is still a great deal of intolerance and disrespect for the individual choices that some people make in their lives.
Yeah. You know, of course, people will be watching, for instance, your participation in this event through some kind of political lens. How do we ensure that perceptions around this being used to score political points don't overshadow what I think, quite frankly, is an incredibly important message that you want to give out today?
Well, it's not really about the politics. I mean, I was invited to speak 2 years ago at the it's about showing solidarity. It's not a single political party event. Any political party is welcome to attend. But given the fact that the DA is in government in the city of Cape Town, the DA governs the Western Cape, and we have made many efforts as both a city and a province to promote tolerance and acceptance and provide safe spaces for people of the LGBTQIA+ community, that we are there to show solidarity. I mean, that is an area where we're in government, and I think it is important that people from that community know not only that they're welcome, but that as a DA government, we would be doing everything we can to make sure that the principles and values of tolerance and respect and that there is safety for people in those communities. Yeah. Cape Town, the Western Cape, is a place that they can feel safe.
In the past, the concern has always been that events like this actually just create echo chambers, because it's the same people who, quite frankly, accept and understand the message that attend, whilst the individuals to whom the message really should be reaching typically don't find resonance with these kind of events. How do we break those barriers, even if they exist just on the level of perception?
Well, I think it's great that I'm here on Newzroom Afrika sharing this message as well, saying that you don't have to be a member of the LGBTQIA+ community to stand up for basic human rights and basic human dignity. So I think the message does need to get out there. It's particularly in an environment where we are in, and where the African continent, where in many African countries it is still a crime to love somebody of the same sex. And I think that South Africa has been very quiet about this on the continent, and part of my speech today is going to focus on challenging government to speak up and use its continental voice to make sure that this type of hate crime and bigotry is removed from the continent, and not to do what David Mabuza has told us to do, I mean, to shut our mouth and show respect to other countries. I think that we've got a constitution that's progressive, that recognizes it, and that constitution should be the light that we shine on the rest of the continent. We shouldn't be pandering to bullies and bigots, not in our country and certainly on the continent.
Yeah, you mentioned David Mabuza. Allow me to speak to you as a member of parliament for a moment, if I can. Sure. What's your reading about how members of the National Assembly view an issue like this? And I'm not just talking legislatively, how they would vote if there was ever to be any kind of process like that, but attitudes and sentiments among people who, quite frankly, are meant to represent South Africans. What's your sense around where that is within the chambers of the National Assembly?
Well, I would like to think that when a member of parliament raises their right hand and swears to uphold the Constitution, that they swear to uphold every aspect of the Constitution. And our Constitution is very, very clear that people should not be discriminated on the basis of race, age, sex, sexual persuasion. And so you can't cherry pick from the Constitution which parts you like and which you don't. So I would say as members of Parliament have an obligation to uphold the values of the Constitution. People may be entitled to their own views and opinions, and that's fine. But as legislators, we have to breathe life into the provisions in Chapter 2, the Bill of Rights of the Constitution, and to make sure that those are upheld in legislation and in laws that are passed in Parliament.
Yeah. Do you get the sense, though, that progressive culture exists within the National Assembly?
Well, I would imagine that it's done on a party basis. Are there large parts of the ANC that are very supportive of the LGBTIQA+ community, as in the EFF and others? And I would say the majority of members of the National Assembly would agree that it's their responsibility to uphold the Chapter 2 of the Bill of Rights, and that includes the rights of members of this community to be able to live their lives as they see fit.
Absolutely. Well, John Steenhuisen, wish you well for the day ahead. It's said to be a colourful event if history is anything to go by, so I guess you'll also have some fun. Dear leader there, John Steenhuisen, thanks for your time.